is, running it down on these niggas.
Sex, drugs, money, and murder, my nigga. You know how we did it, my nigga. Still be painting them bitches, my nigga. Ripping that roll and fucking your bitches. Sex, drugs, money, and murder. 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 Niggas, they never gon' hurt you. Niggas, they never will hurt you. Sex, drugs, money, and murder. Sex, drugs, money, and murder.
Got the trap spot, understand how to get that. Ran down on them niggas with a flip back. Knew I never seen another nigga live like that. I was still getting stacks back. Had to fuck around getting them packs back. Niggas.
What's good, you ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Bullets Gotti. Let me say this, right? Shout out to Bimmy. Shout out to the big bro Haas. I had a conversation with Bimmy on the phone. Had a three-way conversation. And I had a conversation with the homie. I want to say salute to him, right? Because, you know, it could have went any other way. But he's a respectable gentleman. I respect that. You know, it wasn't no rah-rah. It wasn't no arguments. It wasn't none of that. It was a respect thing. And was a respectable conversation. And I got to salute him on that. And happy holidays to him and his family. And salute to Bim. You know, Bim is I always heard good things about him. So I had a great conversation, great dialogue. And he explained to me on the phone, you know, because I was questioning, you know, being a dude that's a journalist, you have to, you open up the Pandora's box to ask certain questions. You know what I'm saying? And I got the response, and I understand. You know, it was men that had their differences with him, you know, that put that out there in the documentary. You know what I'm saying? And he explained to me. You know, he explained to me, and I told him, my bad, my error. There was an error on my part. And one thing about me, when I say something, I go back and I say, my mistake, that was an error. I misspoke. And I misspoke. There was an error in my statement because I understood and I listened to the conversation. I listened to him and I spoke to him. It was a genuine conversation. It was a great conversation. It was a good faith conversation. And it was a great, you know, great, because like I said, man, you know, conversation rules the nation. And what people got to understand is you can have a conversation with somebody and it don't lead to bloodshed and it don't lead to anything else. That's a great thing. A lot of people need to start doing that in our community, having conversations. Instead of it leading to dudes going to the streets and pulling guns out and trying to hurt each other or go on the internet and slander each other. You have a phone conversation with that man on the phone and speak to that man. And have a conversation and hear that man out. Hear what he says. Like I said, I heard that man out. I heard what he said. And I understand it was somebody they were putting. This was a documentary that was basically not to make him look good as an individual. They wanted to put his character out there the way they wanted to put his character out there. You know what I'm saying? And that's how a lot of dudes do. You know, so I understood where he was coming from, you know, because he's doing his things in the industry and he's doing things, a lot of big things in the game. And he has his freedom. You know, a lot of men, you know, will say what they'll say when they're in those predicaments, incarcerated. You understand what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm not here to judge. I don't judge no man. You know, I don't judge no man. You know, and I tell people this all the time. You know, conversation rules the nation. As long as I had that conversation with that man, I respect that man on that conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because I asked a question. It wasn't like I came out there and say, oh, yo. No, I asked the question. And I got the conversation. And what I heard is understandable. And like I said, that was my error. And I'm glad that I got to spoke to Brimmy. And I got to speak my piece, and he got to speak his piece, and I understood his piece. And like I said, people, you know, will say anything. You know, in this world that we live in, a lot of people will have their reasons why they say certain things and why they do certain things. because of who Bimmy is associated with, people that he were formerly associated with feel some type of way. So I understand that. And he explained to me what it was and what it is. So I got to give him a big shout out. Got to give Hassan a big shout out. Because that was a grown man conversation. It was a positive conversation. And like I said, it didn't land the dude said, No, it wasn't none of that. It was men having a respectable conversation. Like I said, Bimmy's a gentleman. He's a gentleman. You know what I'm saying? They don't make those type of dudes no more where you speaking to a gentleman, you know, a gentleman gangster. When Styles P say gangster to a gentleman, Bimmy's a gentleman gangster. I had a gentleman's conversation with him, and it was a respectable gentleman's conversation. I respect that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, that was my bad. I take that. That was an error. Everybody makes errors. We all make errors and mistakes. You understand what I'm saying? And like I said, he explained to me. I'll say this again in this video. He explained to me what that was and what that was about. That's because of who he's associated with. And that's because he's not associated with the other side. So because he's not associated with the other side put that in the documentary to make his character look bad. And I understand. So, salute to Bimmy. Shout out to you, big homie. And like I said, that was an error. I misspoke. And I had to make this clearation video just to say that I misspoke. You know what I'm saying? We don't want things to go and get out there. You know what I'm saying? Same thing where I got a phone call and, you know, shout out to Snow. He made a comment about K Slate. And I had to quickly come and do a video because somebody misspoke and said something about K Slate that wasn't true. Snow's my mans. You know what I'm saying? What Snow says, I'm not agreeing on it. That's what that man said. You know what I'm saying? And just like in this conversation, I'm going by what I heard in the documentary. I brought the question up. I got the conversation. And like I said, he told me on the phone, it's understandable. Salute.